Why did you resurrect Aunt Jemima in recent years?
Well, I found out that not only were these things being reproduced, but that African American artists were also using them to exploit them in a negative way, continuing the negative interpretation of those things for greed, for money, for recognition, for all the things that anybody does that for. And that I felt that the Aunt Jemima has to come back and make a statement, you know, even though she's been fighting and rebelling and trying to be liberated all these years, because from 72 to now is like, what, 20 years or so?
Yes.
That the same basis is there, and that the art market, which is primarily white run, welcomed that. You know, we can't have Aunt Jemima sitting on the kitchen stove. We can't have a slave in the backyard, but we can have this art about her. And I felt that a lot of the art was about cruelty to children. And it was, they said, well, oh, it's satire. But I don't think slavery can fall in the same class as being satire. And it really offended me. And because of my upbringing, especially with my grandmother, and especially with a great-grandmother and other relatives that I don't even know their names, were slaves, I felt that it was a form of dishonor. That there's no dishonor in being a working person and having to work in the field or work as a laundress or whatever, but there is dishonor in making fun of that experience. And then I chose for my medium the washboard, and I put the Aunt Jemima caricatures or photographs of working women on the washboard, and that was my way of saying, ain't nothing changed. It's still racism out there. And this is the way I'm pointing the finger at it.
When you talked about your washboards and how you imposed the image of Aunt Jemima on the washboard, how would you categorize that art?
The washboard I selected because instead of a picture frame or a box that I used for an assemblage, that became the property for me to collage things on or attach things on. I consider it an assemblage because it's assembling a washboard plus a photographic image plus a little sculpture or a rifle or whatever I attach to it. The ones that where I use the imagery on the metal part of the washboard, I applied with a substance because I wanted to feel like the shadow or the ghost of its previous user. So you see it and it's very pale, or sometimes it matches the metal of it, but it's like the imprint, you know. So that's what that symbolizes. But then up above I may have had some little Aunt Jemima dolls or Moe's dolls or things like that, or rifles. So it comes under, for me, the classification as assemblage.
Of assemblage. And then the washboard itself is symbolic of the labor.
Yes.
Yes, that those women had to do.